What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. We heard your cries. We heard your pleas. We saw you begging in the street at the feet of the Content Boys, franchise saviors.
Noted
Insiders with the moms and the dads. Supporters of all young Sharks, much more than the coaching staff. We listened, and we give the people what they want. So we are back again today with a draft profile. Even though you probably already knew that because it says it in the title. I don't know why I did all this build-up.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm your host, Kyle Demetrius. Back with me, as always, is co-host JD, the John Holmes to my Peter North. Let's just get to the draft profile. We got a fun one today. Not really polarizing. I just think he's a hot riser. He's insane. We heard about this guy before we started doing the profiles this year when we were organizing what we were going to do, and everybody tried to clamor for him, but we saved him for our favorite. So.
BFF for the show.
Yeah.
Noted
porn enthusiast.
Yes. So if you are new to the draft profiles, what we do is we'll go through kind of players, kind of basic stats and stuff, and then we will bring on a noted expert to talk about this player in more detail. Today is one Gleb Trikozov. Gleb.
Look at that jersey.
That is a pretty sweet ass jersey. Not as nice. I still like the
the weird deer thing.
The weird deer one that we saw from Mesar last week, or 2 weeks ago, whenever we did this. I don't know. Time has no meaning, but
time's a flat circle.
It is. So, Gleb, August baby, still 17. So, he's still 17. He doesn't turn 18 until August 12th, 2004, which makes me feel very old. Russian. Plays forward, 6'1", 185, big boy already at the age of 17. Right-handed shot. Right now in the MHL, he has this regular season he played 35 games, 23 goals, 22 assists, 45 points for a very solid 1.29 points per game. He's in the playoffs right now as we're recording this. We're recording this, I think, a week before you're actually going to hear it. 9 games played, 8 goals, 4 assists, 12 points. Very, 12.
He's 17.
Points. 17.
Well, I don't really know what the MHL is. We're gonna have to ask the scout.
Yes. So, to talk about his Russian wonder, we have BFF of the show, Will Scouch, to talk about why he loves Gleb. Everybody loves Gleb, apparently.
Did you change the thing to say? Oh, I was going to say noted porn enthusiast.
I should have.
Oh, he's also muted himself.
He's also muted himself.
I just unmuted myself. I was not muted. I was mouthing words, my insults towards you guys for slandering me before I even come on the show.
Is it slander?
You're lucky I keep coming back. It doesn't matter. It's all false. It's all fake news. You can't prove any of it.
I'm not the weird one because I like porn.
Oh my god. Oh, why do I keep coming back? But whatever. Hello. How you doing, guys?
Because we're fun.
Yeah.
Remember the 2020? Remember the 2020 draft class? That's why you keep coming back.
We are the 2020 draft class podcast.
Yeah.
There's a real. Before we get into Gleb, there's a real chance that like 5 of those dudes make the Sharks.
I told you.
Robbins, Bordelot, Ko, Gushin are all probably going to make the Sharks, and then I think Ozzy still has a really good shot.
Yeah, I told you. I wouldn't lie to you. It was dope. Pretty easy.
But yeah, before the show, we literally spent 25 minutes just talking about weird things. So yes, this one's going to be great.
Weird is one way to put it, but yep.
Wow.
So Gleb.
Yeah, Gleb. Dude, where do you want to start?
He's a big boy. So why is he like, why did you clamor this is the guy you want to talk about the most? Like, because you were the first one who's like, I want to talk about Gleb, and I watched some of your your scouting lives, and it's Gleb all the time, every time. What makes Gleb such an interesting prospect? Why is he neat, as you say?
Yeah, he's one of the most electrifying players in the entire draft. Like, I honestly,
he's like The Rock.
He's what?
He's like
Like
The Rock, the most
Oh my
electrifying
God.
human.
Sports entertainment.
Rock, you
Yeah.
can't electrify a rock. Come on, let's
Yeah.
get real.
We-
But what?
What?
What are you?
What?
I think he's missing.
Do you need a root beer?
I know who you're talking about. Anyway, whatever. And maybe I could use a root beer if you have one.
He's getting old. He's getting tired. It's late for
Yeah.
you.
Oh, that's true. It is.
Yes.
I'm an old man. Anyway, where were we?
Gleb,
Trikozov.
electrifying Gleb.
Speaking of not old people like me, Gleb is just one of the most fun players to watch in the entire draft. Like, I track data. Obviously, I think everybody knows that, but pretty much all pretty much across the board in the stuff that I'm really interested in, he's pinned top 10 at worst. Like, it's some of the things that he does are unlike anyone else in the draft. He has one of the best shots in the draft, like just an unbelievable shooter. Like, he's got 8 goals in 10 playoff games for a reason. The guy just absolutely rips hockey pucks in half. He has, it's funny looking at this information, this data that I've got, but he's been involved in half of the transitions going up the ice when he's on the ice, like either passing them, receiving pucks. He's just a guy who the team just gives the puck to, and they just let him do whatever he wants because he can basically do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Insanely skilled, really, really good edges to navigate around the ice. Problem solves under pressure pretty well. The knock is that he's doing it in the MHL, and I think there's also a knock that his defensive game is, I'd say, hit or miss. But I just don't care. Like, it's hard to
love it.
It's hard to care when the offensive game is just so outrageous. Like, you watch him play. Like, I don't think there's been a single game I've seen where, I mean, it was pretty clear to me early in the year. For starters, he's extremely young. Like, he's a month away from being eligible for next year's draft, which is pretty young. And I was watching him early in the year because he started the year with his team's men's team in the second division. So not their KHL team, but their VHL team.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Miroshnichenko were on that team together, playing at the same time, playing comparable minutes. And I did a game of both early in the year, and I kind of sat back after watching that game and after watching either game and going, that Trikozov guy should be playing with Miroshnichenko, and I liked him more, which at the time felt absolutely insane considering everybody and their dog thought Miroshnichenko was going to be a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, like potential top line guy. But I came away from that game going, yeah, I'm not sure that's the case so much anymore. And then Gleb was a guy where I went back a little while later. He went back to the junior league after, I think, 9 games or so. And he's just been ripping that league to pieces. Like, I think he's over. I was looking at it earlier before I came on the show tonight. If you look at, so the MHL is not good, but
what is the MHL?
So it's the Russian Junior League.
It's the CHL,
basically. But it's like if the OHL was blended with the OJHL and like 18U AAA. Like, there are some teams in that league that absolutely don't have any business being there. Like, it's just, they have so many teams just to say that they have so many teams, like it's obvious. And so the breadth of talent, especially in the East Conference, is really, really wide. But if you look at, like, I looked at his goal scoring over the course of the whole season, or his point scoring. If you just look at primary points, like, he's over 3 primary points per 60 minutes, which is just insane, and he leads his team in that metric. And even if you filter out the bad teams in his conference and add the good ones from the other conference, which is, all the teams in Moscow, St. Petersburg, he's still pinned around 3 points per 60 minutes, and just all he does is score.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting, stats, and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, league news, reviews, and news, including this year's basketball playoffs and the start of the Major League Baseball season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, from live betting to playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Is that good for the because you said the MHL sucks.
Yeah.
3 anywhere,
he
3
should
anywhere
be
is good. 2 anywhere is, I would consider good. Like, just over 2, I would say, is like really notable. 3 is bonkers. Like it's just insane. So I've seen this guy. He can set up plays. He can shoot. He can move pucks up the ice extremely well. He's improving. I think he's improved his defensive game over the course of the year. Like early on in the year, he would have these moments where he would just stop moving his feet, kind of glide on back checks, and then step in and get involved and shut down the play. Whereas you kind of would like him to be like more assertive and just sort of challenging guys a little quicker. And he started to do that. Just a brilliant stick checker. Like his quickness with his hands is just insane. Like just preloading up his shot, stripping pucks off guys and turning around. He's fast. He's agile. Like there's so many things that I'm looking at him and I'm going like, if this guy played like how he's playing in the MHL, in the CHL, I probably would be having him like even higher than I have him now. Like he's a top 10 guy for me. I know that a lot of people disagree. A lot of people think he's more of a second round pick to some people, but I don't know. I've seen a lot of Russian junior hockey players. Like I was a huge fan of Marat Kuznetsov, but this guy has offensive tools that Marat did not have. He has offensive transition game that Marat just did not have. There's so many things. He's like, this is insane. This isn't the number one metric I've got on this, but in terms of creating shot attempts for his team, so either shot assists or doing it himself, he's involved in 60% of them when he's on the ice. So he's either passing the puck to the player shooting it or shooting it himself 60% of the time, or on 60% of the attempts when he's on the ice. Not very many guys are even over 50. Like at 40% is a high number in that metric for me. So he doesn't, and he's been playing like third line, second line minutes for his team. They're not even playing him 20 minutes a night.
Why?
Like it's Omsk. I don't know. Yeah, he's a 17-year-old in Omsk. His team is good. Like they're pretty deep in the playoffs. But I don't know. Every time he steps on the ice, maybe not every time, but enough of the time when he steps on the ice, you're going, oh snap! Like this guy like gets people out of your seat, kind of thing. And I think people are kind of focusing on his defensive game or the fact that he's playing at a lower level. I think a lot of people rightfully, are pointing at the uncertainty with things in Russia right now. But for me, like, that's not what my job is, right? Like my job isn't to go, well, how do the geopolitical concerns that might factor in over the next 4 months affect my evaluation of the guy? It's like, look, I'm going to operate under these, like his agent is Dan Milstein, and Dan Milstein has been extremely vocal against everything that's going on in Russia. Like he's one of the more militant anti-Russian people in hockey right now. And he represents a lot of Russians. And one of those Russians is Gleb Trikozov. So either Gleb Trikozov is going to get a new agent pretty soon, or for all we know, he might hop on a plane, come to the NHL draft, and never go home to Russia ever again. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But the point is, like, he's just an outstanding hockey player. He should have been playing in the VHL a little more than he did this year, just playing pro hockey, because I don't know, like he just kind of ripped other teams to pieces. Like they couldn't touch him, whether they get on top of him, he just uses his hands and gets around them. If he finds some space off puck, it's like God strikes him with a lightning bolt when he shoots the puck. Like it's unbelievable.
So his shooting is his best thing.
I mean, it is a hallmark.
Like
in terms of the
Caulfield
quality of
good,
his shot.
or
well, I don't know. I haven't looked at those guys back to back, but I mean, the thing that usually when guys are really, really good at only shooting the puck, I kind of get a little bit sketched out about it, because Jonathan Lekaramaki is a great example this year where I'm going, his best thing is shooting the puck, but the rest of the picture is kind of a big work in progress. But when I look at Gleb Trikozov, I see a guy who's number one in total offensive transitions where they're involved. So just volume, whether they're controlled or not, number one in controlling transitions up the ice. So in terms of guys that move the puck, there is literally no one more involved and in more volume than him. I mean, I can look up who number 2 is on this list because it's probably you. But
it's definitely be a Russian person nobody's ever heard of.
Maybe, but let me pull it up. But it's just, there's just so much to like about his game. It's just insane.
While you're looking that up, is there any rhyme or reason why he didn't go up, or is it just because the Russian system is insane?
Why he didn't go up in what? What
so
do you
like
mean?
The VHL or the KHL? Like, why is he playing the KHL? We see other guys playing the KHL.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
It could just be
get the feeling
Russia is insane.
I get the feeling that they just want their MHL team to be as good as possible, like with all their junior age guys, because he was only playing like 7 or 8 minutes a night in the VHL.
Mhm.
But when I looked at him in the VHL, like the one game I tracked, he was not very effective. But I think that's only because his team, I can look it up, like his team took, I think like 6 shots. Yeah, his team took 6
You'll
shots.
fit perfectly on the Sharks.
They were all his team took 6 shot attempts with him on the ice, and he took 2 of them in a men's league, and they were all low danger. Like his team just did not penetrate the perimeter or penetrate the inside. Like they just didn't get there.
Yep.
But he had 3 slot passes in that game, which is pretty good. Like he had one game where he had 2 slot passes, but in that game he had 4 dangerous shots. Like
as a 17-year-old.
Well, that was also at the junior level, but he had 3 at the men's level in that one game. And like I found that he was just, there's this thing I think with guys like him that play with a lot of pace, a lot of speed, and a lot of skill, where if they're not surrounded with guys who can also do the same, they get way less effective. I'm seeing that with Brad Lambert constantly. Like the guys William Eklund, like the guys that those players play with just can't hang. Like they're more than a step behind all the time. They're late enough on entries when the guy with the speed and skill enters the offensive zone that the defenses just get back in time and they're set up and they're ready to counter. So when I look at a guy like Gleb Trikozov, I just see a guy who is just insanely talented and has improved his defensive game over the course of the year to a point where I'm like, well, it's not ideal, but you also go like, it would be bad to talk to him and be like, hey, you need to be better defensively, because he's going to look at you and be like, who gives a shit? Like I'm just gonna get the puck and I'm gonna rifle it into the net. Like, why do you care about my defense? Like, and to a certain, and you have
nerds anyway. We've already
we've
established this on this podcast. Defense
and even
nerds.
and even if you want to use the argument of like, well, he's not going to work out in the NHL. Well, he's a Russian. Like assuming, let's say things continue as they are, like in Russia, like the KHL is functional, development systems are functional, whatever, and he's in the KHL next year. And he's decent. Well, okay, he goes back for another year. He's slightly better. Like you could wait 3 or 4 years for him to be able to use what he's got at those levels, even though I don't think it's gonna be that much of an adjustment for him. And you still have a 21, 22-year-old kid who, when he comes over from Russia, is just ready to go. Yeah. And the quality of the talent that he's got. Like I look at him relative to Danila Yurov, for example, who's another highly rated Russian this year. I think that he's leaps and bounds ahead of Yurov in terms of potential, in terms of production. Like he's quicker than he is. I think he's more skilled. Yurov is stronger. I think he's just a beefcake who can just keep guys off of him really well. Really smart player too. Like Trikozov, I wouldn't say he has the best read of the ice, but he just imposes his will. Like he just creates things, whereas Yurov knows how to figure things out on the fly and kind of makes it work.
So what's wrong with Trikozov then?
Well, I think part of it is that it's a very strange. I think a big thing is that there's a lot of in scouting in general. I think a lot of people have what I call like opinion inertia, where it's when something comes out of left field. If I'm sitting here being like, I think Gleb Trikozov is one of the 10 best players in the NHL draft, it would have been kind of asinine to suggest that before the season began, right? Like not very many people knew this guy existed. He had a spectacular year last year in Russia, but like not very many people were really talking about it. He had 12 goals in 9 games at the under 17 level and another 4 and 4 at the under 18 level. And then he had 15 goals in 49. Like he just keeps scoring points everywhere he goes. So I think people see that as, if I've got him ahead of Danila Yurov and Ivan Miroshnichenko at this point, they go, how is that possible? Like everybody was talking about Yurov, everybody was talking about Miroshnichenko, nobody was talking about Trikozov, even as recently as the Holinka. So they go, well, then he must not be the same level player, and I have a hard time seeing that. I think also people look at the defensive game that he's got and go, yeah, like this guy is going to have problems, and the MHL's Eastern Conference is meh. And he also hasn't really had that much international exposure outside of the Holinka, where everybody was paying attention to other players. But I don't know. It didn't take very long for me to look at Miroshnichenko and then Trikozov and go, yeah, I'm taking Trikozov, especially because he's an August baby. Like usually guys in that age range, I know you're laughing, but beyond like July, there's definitely an effect of those guys typically being the youngest guys on their team when they're growing up and everything.
It's kind of like Luke Hughes last year, right?
Yeah, like Luke Hughes and Owen Power are a year apart. And I think a lot of people aren't really talking about that. And so when I look at Trikozov and a guy like Yurov is, I think, 8 months older. Like he's a 2003, I think, and Trikozov isn't. And so I don't know. I think a lot of people. Yeah, I know. But like it does kind of make a difference generally. Like Nick Robertson was a guy who flew completely under the radar because he was born 5 days before the cutoff and was a point per game in the OHL. But as a D-1, that's a spectacular season for a 17-year-old or whatever, or a 16-year-old. So I don't know. I think a lot of people, he's just kind of in the shadows when it comes to Russian players, and people look at who do look at him. They look at his defensive game, and they kind of question him. But man, I mean, this is kind of also why I track data, is to be like, well, but he does this, and this, and this, and this a lot, and like he does it for a reason, like with ways to do it. So I don't know, if people want to doubt him, then by all means. But like if I'm a Stanley Cup contending team and I have a first round pick, like if the Toronto Maple Leafs have like 8 clients of Dan Milstein that have come through their doors over the last 5 years. The Tampa Bay Lightning have Kucherov and Vasilevsky, who are clients of Milstein. Like if there's a relationship there, and a team like Tampa or Toronto could add this guy in the late first round, like they're just going to add a top 6 forward. Like, in my opinion, a top 6 offensive forward that can score and make plays. And yes, you might not like his defense all the time, but I think that those concerns are kind of overblown.
So, Will, as you know, we are on a mission from God to find to find William Eklund a friend. We're trying to find you a friend too. But
sure,
William Eklund. How would Eklund and Gleb play together, do you think?
I don't think it would be a problem at all.
Yeah.
Like William Eklund is a great perimeter player, fantastic guy along the boards, really, really quick. Gleb Trikozov can do that, but boy, when he's in open ice and just on a rush or prepping for a shot, like he can take the diversity with which I've seen him score goals. Like he can also play center. I've seen him play center in a few games. And I would probably rather have him at center than William Eklund. And that's no disrespect to William Eklund. I just think that could be a great winger that just can play off of a guy like Trikozov. Like Trikozov could be your quarterback up the ice, and if he doesn't have that option, then so can Eklund. And Eklund can shoot, but he's a playmaker. And I look at Gleb Trikozov and I go, yeah, well, he can do pretty much whatever you want him to do. If you want him to be more of a playmaker guy, maybe that could work. But he's more of a shooter, a guy who can score. And even on the power play, like you just park him on the right side faceoff dot, and he's just going to crank one-timers, and it's just disgust. Like he's just filthy. It's
Kyle's very excited right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you can probably find clips on YouTube of the guy just shooting wrist shots, and it's like you snap your fingers and the puck's in the back of the net. Like he has one of the quickest releases in the entire draft, in my opinion. In my heart
is he
of
the
hearts,
best at anything in the draft?
I mean, it's hard because he does play at a relatively low level. Like I'm not sitting here and being like I would take him first overall. I think there are limitations to his game that does hold him back a little bit from the guys that I have ranked ahead of him. But there aren't that many guys ranked ahead of him for me. Like I've got Savoy ahead of him, I've got Slavkovsky ahead of him. But in terms of guys that like score points, in terms of guys that might in the NHL just put points on the board, like he might be one of the highest scoring guys to come out of the draft. And like people might laugh, but if you go back in time and just sort NHL draft results by points scored in their career, it's very rarely like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or like 1, 3, 6, 2, whatever. Like there's always like 17, 18, 27, like 34, and just guys that just slip through the cracks that can just score. And I have no doubts that he is already pretty close to like production in terms of the quality of his shot and the sort of plays that I've seen him make, finding passes through traffic and using skill to create passing lanes. Like he does all that extremely, extremely well. But in terms of things that he does best, I mean, I'd put him in terms of just his wrist shot. Like I think he's at least one of the best in the draft in terms of just shooting the puck, just in general. But his wrist shot for sure. Shane Wright probably is comparable. Jonathan Lekaramaki is comparable. But man, I mean, the guy scored almost a goal per game in the playoffs this year for a reason. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, totally fair. couple questions here before we go. You're no longer Will Scouch. You're an NHL GM. A typical one. You're not Yzerman. You're not Wilson. You're not Brisebois. You're just a regular ass GM.
Just a regular old guy.
Just a regular GM. Where realistically do we start seeing him maybe being thought of? Because he's obviously not going to go 1. He's not going to go 2. He's not going to go 3. Realistically, where does the Trikozov talk start, barring an Yzerman Sider type move?
Before you answer that, so right now, just like his rankings, so like Smart Scouting has him at like 14, like FC Hockey has him like 17, Elite Prospects 19.
Where did Bob have him?
Bob has him at 64.
Yeah.
McKeen's,
which is insane. If he's a late second round pick,
at McKeen's, I don't know, 47. I don't know what they're doing over there, but like,
I mean, I work with McKeen's, so I'll respond. I mean, at McKeen's, I think the Russian guy there just hadn't seen a ton of them, and what he had seen just wasn't particularly great. And there are games where you can watch Trikozov and he's not as effective. There are certain, like, that is a concern, where there are some games where you're like, okay, like what's coming. But I think that has largely gone away. Like his point production has just kind of gone up, like increased in pace over the course of, like, he was a point per game in the MHL for the first few games he played, and then it just, like, he took off towards the end of the year. And I think that's from just being more engaged and just pushing play a lot more than he was. But realistically, I don't know, like, barring any unforeseen craziness that you alluded to, it's still really hard. Like, from what I've heard from NHL teams, it's all over the map with regards to Russian players. Some it's business as usual. Some they're like, no, we're not touching them because it's too uncertain. Some of them they're waiting and seeing. And I think the right course of action is waiting and seeing. But if it's me as a general manager, like, it's hard for me to ignore his talent if he's still there past, I'd say, the top 15. Like, if it's the back half of the first round, I find it impossible. And guys like Matthew Savoy are gone. Brad Lambert's off the board, let's say. I think that around then is when you're kind of like, yeah, we should draft this guy. Like, we should do this. Like, even if he turns out to be a middle six guy that can score on the power play, that's still really valuable, and he has enough projectable offense that he could score on an NHL power play. But and so if you get that in the middle of the first round or towards the back end of the first round, then that's a good draft pick. Like, that's good draft value. So I'd be more than happy to do that. But I can absolutely see a world where NHL teams talk to Dan Milstein or something, and he's like, we don't know what the hell's going to happen. He's like, literally, if there's a law that's passed in Russia tomorrow where it's like, if you're a Russian citizen, it is illegal to leave Russia, which is a thing that may very well could happen, then that changes the equation completely. And it's like, well, then you literally should not be drafting this guy, because you'd just be wasting a first round pick on a guy who it's illegal for him to leave the country. But that hasn't happened yet, as far as I know. He's still playing hockey. But who knows what's going on behind closed doors? I have no idea. But if all things being equal, and just knowing what we know now, I would think past the top 15 is perfectly reasonable.
All right. Blood pack question time.
Yep.
We have a lot of your blood already, but
you do. We've taken a lot of your blood.
It's okay. It comes back. Your body makes more.
Yeah, it takes 8 weeks.
It's true. JD would know. He works for a blood bank. That's a real thing.
Cool.
He's the blood tester. He samples each one to make sure it's pure. Where does he go? What number? We're saying business as usual. We're not saying any crazy Russian things happen. We're saying business as usual.
38.
38. Who's 38?
I don't think he goes first round.
38's got to be.
I don't think he goes first round.
Some
easy
team like Detroit.
Yeah,
my hunch is that things in Russia will get worse before they get better over the next 3 months.
Makes sense.
And NHL teams are going to get spooked and go, why would I use a first round pick on this guy? But a team that has like 3 first round picks or 2 first round picks and a top end second round pick, they're going to go, if they've done their homework, they're going to go, let's just take this
38 guy. It would be, as of right now when we're recording, would be the Ottawa Senators.
Oh, it's not happening then. Screw that.
39.
41. I don't know.
41 would actually be, as of right now, would be the Detroit Red Wings. So
there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now we've asked you, who do you think the best player in the draft is going to be 5 years from now? I think you said Lambert or possibly Wright.
Somebody.
We said, who's a guy you want to stay away from in the first round?
Good.
And you said The fake French guy, I think.
Fake French guy.
No, the French guy in the back half of the first round, I believe. Who is somebody?
Tristan Luneau?
No, I forget. Who is somebody you would stay away from in the first round?
Tristan Luneau. Like Tristan Luneau is gonna go like 12th overall, and I would never do that.
12 overall.
Like he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go well into the first round. Like I was at the Top Prospects game the other day, and he just plays such a hockey man's game. Like he's boring but solid.
12th right now would be the Blue Jackets.
Like he's moderately skilled.
Yeah.
Tristan Luneau.
This is all changed because like Luca Del Bel Belouz is now like 22nd on this mock draft.
Right. I'm looking now. Where is Tristan Luneau? Like I've got him in the 3rd round because I just am not a fan of his game. But he's ranked 10th in North America by CSS, 33 on average. But I get the feeling some NHL team is going to draft him really high.
The Ottawa Senators.
Who? One last quick question because I want to know if this guy's name is going to come out of your mouth. Who's the sneaky good pick around that top 10 mark that nobody's talking about?
Sneaky good.
Like obviously, if like
Gleb would be an interesting one.
David Jiricek. Okay. If David Jiricek falls there, like you just kind of take him, or if Shane Wright falls, you just take him. But like who's a guy that's like probably should go around there but isn't being talked about?
If Brad Lambert's there at 10, then you take Brad Lambert, I think. If
or
not,
11.
or 11. A guy like Seamus Casey, I think, is good enough to take in that range, but that's also kind of expected. But for me, Brad Lambert, every time I watch, it's so funny. Every time I watch him play, I think, was it Sam McGilligan who was on here talking about Brad Lambert?
Yes.
Yeah. Like every single time I watch him play, Sam and I just like have a laugh because it's like you think I was so hopeful when he left Jyväskylä that Pelicans would be a better situation for him. And if anything, it's worse. Like the team that he plays on just does not know how to use him whatsoever. They put him on the wing, which is a terrible decision in my opinion. They are playing him with just slow dudes. I once saw them break out the puck from the defensive end. It took them 10 seconds to set up a breakout, which is nonsense. Lambert's playing right wing, and they went up literally in a line. I swear to God, it was a horizontal line of 5 guys moving up the ice at the same pace. And I'm like, what? And they it's a flying lowercase L. They cross the center line, and then they just dump it in. And then there's 2 guys that stay back to play defense, and then Brad Lambert's first in on the retrieval, and he almost wins the race because that's what he does. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, how is he supposed to produce when he's first on puck retrievals and wins races way more often than you'd expect? No one's there to help him. No one's there in scoring position. No one's doing anything. And like, there's only so much he can do on his own. So it's just, it's funny, but at the same time, you're like, this guy is top 3 on my board and he's producing like a maybe late 1st round pick, early 2nd, like at best. But I'm just, I don't know. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But a lot of people say he has hockey sense problems, but I think the bigger problem is that
he just plays with crappy teammates.
He just plays with terrible. Like he was playing with bottom 6 AHL teammates with Jyväskylä. Like, and people were like, "Well, he doesn't have any hockey sense." Like, what's he supposed to do? These guys were grinders in the American Hockey League for like 5 years. Like, they're just, it's not a good fit. So.
Brad Lambert Hive is still well and strong here.
I don't doubt it. But yeah, he's that answer for me.
All right, what do you got going on coming up?
What do I got going on? The videos are starting to come out shortly. I sent the first 2 off to my brand new video editor. So those are coming back hopefully soon. I'm going to keep shooting more videos. They're going to be coming out from now until July. So stay tuned for those. McKeen's, you can follow us at the McKeen's video team, Sam McGilligan and Greg Revac as well. You can support me directly through Patreon, patreon.com/scouching, where there's lots and lots of fun little perks you can get for whatever you're comfortable paying. What else is going on? I'm also part of Marcus Gustafson, father of Lucas Gustafson, and his Hockey IQ program, where if you use the code SCOUCHING, you'll get 10% off. And I think that's it. So yeah, if there's anything else, you can follow me on Twitter. Yes, I'm at Scouching. I don't really think about Twitter so much anymore. I try to stay off there as much as I can. But
hey, fair. That's
at Scouching on Twitter.
That's a good way to. Apparently, I live in the worst neighborhood. That's a good way to run your life, is stay off Twitter as much as you can. And I can't wait until I just tweet about footy and cricket.
Yeah, and well, and there's also live streams every Thursday night, so you can do that 8 p.m. Eastern time. So check those out. I think I've seen JD in there a few times.
JD does like to watch. It's a known thing. If you would like to follow us on the internet, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Locked On Sharks. Email us, lockedonsharks@gmail.com. YouTube, Locked On Sharks. Listen to us, Amazon, Spotify, Apple, Locked On Sharks. JD, my fry hole. Will's at Scouching.
Kyle, is that Kyle Demetrius? Thank you for making us your first San Jose Sharks listen. Go check out one of the other amazing Locked On podcasts, such as the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Show or the Locked On NHL Now, to get a nice taste of what happened the night before around the NHL. Or go check out one of the other amazing podcasts, such as
Locked On Cubs.
Bye, friends.
Money Shots.